Then I realized that they were masks, some grave, some smiling, all most beautifully crafted in the thinnest beaten metal. Apart from these cabinets and the loom, there was nothing else in the room except for wool, 2 dyeing vats, and some empty shuttles. The shuttle in use, lying between the threads of the work, was wound with the palest shade of gray. I began to examine Juniper's weaving again, this time from another part of the room, so that the pattern looked quite different, almost reminding me of something, when at that moment the door opened and Juniper came in. She smiled at me in a friendly way. "Well?" she said, as she had said the day before. "Well," I said. I knew that as an intruder in this room, wearing Juniper's dress and looking at her things, I ought to have felt and looked ashamed. Only I didn't feel ashamed, just happy, so it was useless to pretend. "I do like it in here," I said. "Good. Come as often as you like." "You don't mind?" "Not a bit. In fact, I knew you'd soon decide to come." "What's it for, then, the weaving?" "Look at it, the colors. What does it remind you of?" I looked long and hard at the weaving, staring at it from various angles, turning my head on one side to see how it looked then. I kept getting the feeling I had had when I first saw it, that it reminded me of something, but I still couldn't think what it was. "I don't know," I said at last. "What is it?" Juniper didn't reply. She had that way of not answering you, yet not seeming rude or nasty, the way other people do when they won't reply. "When I first came here," I told her, "I thought the attic might be full of horrible things, like my cousins said, but it isn't. It's lovely." The next morning I felt perfectly normal, just as Juniper had said I would. In fact, life seemed boringly humdrum after the thrill of my flight and of wondering whether I was destined to be a Doran. "Why is everything so dull?" I grumbled. "I think the dull bits are often the best," Juniper said. "Too much excitement is very distracting. You just need it now and then to give you something to feed off." I didn't think I needed it just now and then. I wanted a lot of it. The next day, however, there was a sort of excitement I didn't enjoy at all. I was going down the cliff to Mass as on so many Sundays, and although Juniper did not always come with me, on this occasion she did because there was a sick old lady she wanted to visit. As we reached the bottom of the cliff path, we had to cross the plank bridge over the stream. I had never liked crossing it much, because there was no handrail, and halfway across you seemed a long way from either bank, and if you looked down you could see the water running underneath in a way I did not like. Tilly did not like it much either, and Juniper always had to lead her. I had followed behind, feeling scared but not too scared. This morning, however, the water was running much more quickly than usual. The streams high up in the mountains had come pouring down into our little stream, and probably some snow had melted up on the height, and the water was leaping and frothing and bubbling, making a loud noise and occasionally making boulders bound as it tore along. Juniper walked ahead of me as usual, leading Tilly,